be a man growing up with a cane pole in his hand. Pocket full of dreams sitting down by the stream that leads him to the Corpus Bay. Give him a shotgun to please his mind, give them quail a few reasons to fly. Living in the city just ain't for me, I wanna go back to the country. Take me to Texas, I wanna go down that open road. Take me to Texas, I wanna see how far this country goes. Take me to Texas, I wanna go down that open road. Take me to Texas, I wanna see how far this country goes. From the pheasant up north to the bucks down south, the east and west have got them largemouth. Hill country hunting and the Gulf.
Okay, folks, welcome to the Texas Outdoor Zone. This week we call this our reality show. This is what happens when you go hunting and fishing. It's not always perfect. It's not always pretty, but it's real. It's real for you and it's real for us. You don't see all the stuff behind the scenes on the cameras, but this time today you're going to see some reality fishing. Watch this. Folks, here's reality TV for you. We're just like you guys out there when we go out. We have problems. We have not only camera problems, battery problems, but this time we have a little boat problem that we're running along and the boat dies, starts right back up. So Captain Ebess is going to run it over to the mechanic real quick and get him to look at it and come back. We're blessed with the ability to be able to do that because he knows the mechanic, but this is just exactly the way it happens for you guys and for us. Folks, I'm here with Daryl Smithy, and he's a local, born and raised in the Aransas Pass area, and he's a crabber. And a lot of times I think we take for granted where our crab comes from. Now you were telling me you have one buyer that you sell most of your crabs to, or all your crabs to?
One buyer, Lou Bell Seafood, Mark Dobbs.
Right.
And he's a crab house here in Aransas Pass, and he buys what you call pack out, which that's where you get your best price. You sell your number ones for one price, and then you sell your number twos for another price, and then you sell your cull crabs for another price.
And then he takes them and sells them to the restaurants?
90% of our crabs are probably shipped out air freight to Baltimore area.
Wow.
Washington, D.C., Baltimore, in that area. We have a few females that go to St. Louis and to the West Coast. And other than that, there's a few sold locally, and generally the culls and some of the number twos go to the local restaurants because they really don't want the great big crabs. But up on the East Coast, the bigger the better.
And you were telling me you've got 100 pods that you work out there.
You're allowed 200 pots under
200.
under one license, and we try to keep it generally under 200 pots. And there's a few crabbers that work a few more, and there's crabbers that have 2 licenses and crabbers that have 3 licenses. So you can have 200 pots per license.
Well, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the hard work that you do for us. You know, as a consumer, we really take it for granted a lot of times how hard you guys work to feed us. And I hope the fishing's good for you, and or the crabbing's good for you, and that you have a good season.
Well, I appreciate it, and we need all the good publicity that we can get. I know there's a lot of negative publicity on the picking up the old crab traps and stuff, but that's pretty well cleaned up out there. And a lot of the old crabbers, they just used to cut their stuff off and leave it in the water. But everybody that's been in the business for the last 10, 15 years, we pick up our old crab traps and we bring them in. And we put them in the, destroy them right instead of leaving them out in the water. And it gives if you leave them out in the water, it gives a fisherman something to catch, but it's kind of like catching the old boot.
Well, that's great, and I know that has been a big concern, and I noticed that the numbers of the traps they find out there now seems like they're cleaning up these areas, and they're not finding them.
They're cleaning up, and it's getting less and less. And the crabber's getting smarter, and he's becoming more responsible. And we're trying to get more good publicity than we do negative publicity. And I think the bigger crabs we catch, and we need more markets in Texas to open up and buy our local products.
Well, I'm just amazed that these go to Baltimore. I'm amazed at how hard you guys work to feed us. And I know we're keeping you, and you need to get out there and run your traps, your pods.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you
Yes,
visiting
sir.
with me.
Y'all get more time, come down, and I'll take you and show you the real business.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of work to me, folks. Thanks.
I need a deck in.
Well, I'm here at the Salty Dog Bait House, and I'm with Ron. Ron's the owner, and boy, Ron, you've really cleaned this place up. It looks really good, and you told me that there's no reason for a bait shop to smell like a bait shop.
Doesn't have to. Got to keep it clean. Everybody likes to see it clean when they come in. We try to keep quality bait, and so that's why we keep it clean. Our tanks are clean, and that helps us keep the good bait.
Well, now the boat that we were just looking at, that you guys got a croaker on that one. You said the shrimp aren't real good right now, so we're kind of relying on the
not in the
croaker.
bays. The bays are really dead on shrimp, but we get a few, but not many.
Is that because of the time of year, or
It's
is it
time of year and the water temperature?
right?
Yeah, so they've all gone to the Gulf basically, where it's cooler water. We get a few big brownies in off the other boats that go to the Gulf, but he's strictly a bay boat.
So, folks, if you're wondering where your bait comes from, these guys work all night to make sure it's here in the morning when you come in.
That's right. Keep it good.
A bait shop does not have to smell like a bait shop. Pick your bait shop. Well, folks, while Captain Ebest takes the boat to the shop, we're going to flip to when we went to Baffin Bay with him just a couple of weeks ago and had an absolute trout fest. You don't want to miss this. We absolutely cream them. It's trout fishing on the Texas Outdoor Zone. We'll be right back. This portion of the show brought to you by Country Line Mercantile. Now it's time for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Corral.
It's hard work walking through the water dragging crab traps.
Most days, Stan Sterling is a chemical engineer. But today, he's one of over 300 volunteers helping Texas Parks and Wildlife clean up Texas bays.
I've been fishing in the bay before, and I've seen a lot of old traps, and I wonder how long they stay there and if the fishermen ever check them.
In 2001, the Texas legislature passed a law that allowed the closure of the crab fishery season for 10 to 30 days each year, so abandoned traps could be removed.
As you can see, it's pretty substantial.
Abandoned crab traps are posing a pretty significant biological impact to the coastal waters of Texas. Based on a study out of Louisiana, we're estimating that about 26 crabs per year are lost for each abandoned crab trap left in the water.
Dead on arrival.
Bobby, you ready for a bowl of chili? If you get one of them hung up on your boat that you can't see, that's why we call them ghost trap. That's why we want them out of there, because you can run an engine in a heartbeat. And if you don't have a good pair of side cutters, you ain't gonna hardly get it off that engine, and you could be stranded out there for several hours before somebody come get you.
I appreciate it.
Now in its third year, program leaders are finding fewer traps to pick up.
So each year, it gets a little harder to find the traps. These traps this year coming in are well earned, and many of them are buried halfway in the mud.
But it's the volunteers like Stan who make the program successful.
Oh, the volunteers are great.
I picked up, I'd say, maybe a fourth of our portion, maybe.
Without the volunteers, there really wouldn't be a program.
Somewhere around 4 or 3.
There's just no way that Parks and Wildlife has the manpower to get out there and touch as many of these traps as there are.
It is the most rewarding thing I've ever done, to get all that stuff out of the bays, and it really feels good. Plus, being out with these guys.
Near Houston, this is Lydia Saldana reporting.
This morning, we're on Baffin Bay. We came down with my good buddy John Atkinson. We're going out with Captain Larry Ebest. The trout are biting. It's a perfect day. Come on, go with us. Ready? Let's go.
We're on rock here, so you need to keep it up. You need to bump it
Pretty regular. fish on? No?
He knocked me off on the rock.
No, he's on. I've seen him splashing around out there. Holy cow. Oh. Good trout. Holy moly. That is the biggest trout I've ever caught right there. Yes. What's he doing out here? That's a skinny one. Look how skinny it is.
Looking for a meal. Something's not right.
One of the things you want to do when you're trout fishing is if you, when you're cleaning your fish around the rib cage, on a male the meat will be darker. The body will be darker around the rib cage on the male than the female. So there's just a little way for you to tell the difference. Sometimes they'll be full of eggs. That's an obvious way to tell the females, but check around the rib cage, it'll be darker there. Hey folks, here's your Texas Outdoor Zone tip for this week. When you're out in the sun, sunscreen. I like Smart Shield sunscreen. Reason why we're big on this right now is because it's safe to put on your hands and reach into the live well. It won't hurt your bait. They also have this really cool little packets, and they come with a towelette with 30 SPF sunscreen on it. You can use it to wipe your face, your arms, and it's great little packages. But sunscreen, protect yourself. You'll be glad you did later. That's your Texas Outdoor Zone tip for this week.
Today water's a little off color, so we need to help these croakers out a little bit and making some noise. So we're going to put some glass beads and brass washers on. As you bump the croakers, they'll make a clicking sound.
They're just right here in front of us. That's another good fish. I didn't see it. Biggest fish in my career. John, you got fish on?
I need to move over to your spot.
You're my favorite captain. That's a stiff rod you're fishing with there, Johnny.
Huh? Remember how many years I've had this?
Not the beast, but she'd been, whatever it was fight, messing with me. Holy cow, it's another good one. It's all right. Well, what you have out along through this water here is some reef type rock piles.
Worm rocks.
Huh?
Worm rocks.
Worm rocks. And they're actually extremely old. They're prehistoric.
Right.
And they're part of what the danger of running in Baffin Bay is if you don't know Baffin Bay. A lot of lower units left behind on worm rocks in Baffin Bay. So if you don't know Baffin Bay, it's not a good place just to go running, but these fish run up and down these rock piles, and that's what we're doing, is fishing the rock piles. And Losing a few baits to it, losing some hooks and rigs to them, but catching a bunch of fish.
That got him. Oh yeah. That's the trout I've been waiting for. Big boy.
Yeah! Captain E-Best says we're fixing to make a move. We'll be back right after this. You're watching the Texas Outdoor Zone. This portion of the show is brought to you by Country Line Magazine. Folks, we're fishing Baffin Bay. It's the Texas Outdoor Zone, and we're catching fish. Fish on! Woo! Holy cow! Oh, you might have dwarfed me.
22 1/4.
No! You dog. That's a beautiful thing. There's a good fish right there. He was way out there. Hey, he's not quite the beast those others were, but that fish will keep. This spot we just pulled up to's got a slick floating in front of us. It was right here where we were and drifted out a little bit. This is probably going to be our last stop for the day. The water's a little bit muddy and the wind's picking up. It's about late mid-morning, almost noon. And but there's activity. Big trout. That's what I'm talking about. Well, we're sitting here with my buddy Captain Larry E-Best, who we fished together a lot.
Quite a few times.
Seems like.
Yes.
And my wife and my kids love fishing with you. We've been out with you.
Bring her around more often.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting to where I don't like bringing her around because she catches all the fish, and it's it's not good on a TV show to have the
girls do the boys.
Yeah, well. We were talking today. I was curious about the trout spawning, and you were telling me that spotted sea trout, speckled trout, spawn more than just once.
Right. Yeah, they typically spawn from April through October. Average every 2 weeks, so about 26 times a year they'll spawn.
See, I did not know that. And do they travel and spawn at different spots, or do they?
They just spawn wherever. I mean, they spawn, the males come in, and the eggs just kind of float off. They got a real high or real low survival rate because of the way they do spawn. But that's the reason I guess they spawn so much.
Well, and I know the sea trout, the speckled trout populations are really good right now. How have you seen them over the last couple of years?
In the last 2 years, I've really seen them come up. I've been out with the bollards and when they do their gill nets, and everything's showing a really good trout population. Everything's coming up. Everything looks really good.
And what about rules and regulations on the guides, limits, and stuff like that? Has that been a problem for you at all, or?
No, not at all. Other than when I want to take a couple fish home for dinner,
right?
I got to go back out and fish on my own. So.
Well, if somebody wanted to fish with you, the best way to get in touch with Captain E-Best is the website on our screen or the phone number. And from Rockport to Baffin Bay, I've been successful with him everywhere we went. Runs a clean operation. I appreciate you taking us out and spending some time. I look forward to going out again real soon.
Well, like I said, I always enjoy having y'all down.
Captain Larry E-Best, folks. This portion of the show brought to you by Country Line Mercantile. Well, folks, you know we love fishing the Texas coast because you see us do it a lot. We want to thank Captain Larry Ebest for taking us out. We want to thank the Lighthouse Inn on Fulton Beach for putting us up. And we just want to encourage you this week to take your kids outside, take them for a walk, take them fishing, take them hunting. I don't care. Just get them out into the great Texas outdoor zone. See you next week.
I'm done. I'm not leaving. I'm not going.
Hey folks, I'm TJ Graney, your host for the Texas Outdoor Zone. This morning we're at Con Brown.
You're right.
Con Brown. And we also want to thank the Lighthouse Inn to make sure that you know how nice they are to us and how swanky that place is. Folks, here's your Texas Outdoor Zone tip for this week. It won't damage your bait. It's eco.
Hi, yes, Smart Shield. It's the best.
The conditions are almost perfect, except for that hook in my finger. If you are, okay, never mind. We'll try that again. Ready? We'll be right back. Blah, blah. Let me do that one more time.